Welcome, everybody. It's Thursday once again. It's May the 2022, and you're watching the Fgeitas show with your host Fgeitas. That's me. I'm here to talk about video games and video game news and other stuff that are related to video games. Welcome, everyone. Hey, Rene. Hey, Ruben. Everyone else in chat, how you guys doing? Man, what a morning. What a morning, what a week. Everything is broken. Everything is broken. As you guys can see, I do have a different pair of headphones this time. So last night I was playing Tekken because I was like, you know, practicing for Evo and practicing my combos with King. I realized that my right headphone, so I have those like in-ear monitors. My right headphone was absolutely dead. I'm like, okay, cool. This is going well, I guess. And like I try to see if, because it like the thing comes off, and I try to see if it it was just like a bad connection, or if it was like the wire that was malfunctioning. Now it turns out it was the soldering into the driver, you know, like the little speaker that does, you know, that emits the sound. It was the driver that like apparently like burned. Like, okay, cool. So I guess we're back to whole headphones. So I'm wearing these, which is, you know, it's not that they're not comfortable. It's just that, you know, they get too hot, and when I get like, if I have like big hair, they get kind of messy. And then you have the headphone hair, you know, like the little, you know, small crevice on your hair once you take it off, and like it's something I don't enjoy, and that's why I use in-ear. Yeah, not fun. At the same time, I begin to notice that my leverless controller was also kind of going away, kind of dying. So I got a hot 42. I don't even know how to spell how to say that name, but I got a hot 42, and the way you were talking, it sounded like someone was driving into a fast food ordering thing and burned. What do you mean? Like, is my mic sounding okay? But yeah, got a hot 42, a T16. I think. Also, welcome, Kane. And hot 42 T16. Like basically, I think it's the USB port that kind of died. So right now, like I can connect my controller to the PC, and like it lights up, like all the LEDs are working. But zero response, like this does not detect input at all, and I'm like, okay, cool. And yeah, speaking of USBs, Randy Pitchford, that would be a great segue to our news. I don't know, the driver, like I mean the driver for my, I can actually show you guys, hold on. So these, I know you guys are not hearing me that well right now. This is like the earpiece that I use, right? And it's kind of cool because you can just like take it off. You just get the cable and the the earpiece, right? Which is kind of cool. That means I can just swap for new ones. But you know, usually with headphones, like these kinds of I guess in-ear headphones, you usually get it's the wires, right? It's the connection between the jack and the earpiece that usually I guess breaks inside. And turns out this time it was not that. And yeah, they're really cool, but it turns out it was like actually the salt. I don't think it's this one. It's the other ones. I think it's the other side. Yeah, the other side, exactly. Like I can actually see that the soldering that you get from the connector to the driver, to the like the little speaker that you have, yeah, it burned away basically. So like, or it broke somehow. I can't actually tell exactly what's going on in there, but the wire is gone somehow. So cool. Two things broken in a single night. For some reason, fucking it. Headphones and leverless. So now I'm considering, you know, headphones are fine. These are actually like better sounding because, you know, they're bigger, they're fuller. But I'm actually considering buying a new leverless, and I don't think I'll buy like one of those cheap ones again. I think I'll just go like straight into the Victrix Pro or the Victrix KO, the new Victory thing. They have like a full leverless. It's like $220. It's on sale right now, actually. So it's, I mean, it's not that big of a sale, just like a small discount. Just buy a cabinet. Just, I don't have a console. That's the thing. I need to connect the cabinet to the PC. Yeah. Oh, also, hi Celan. Sorry, Dom, I didn't say hello to you. But yeah, I just might go straight into the Victrix KO Pro leverless, like weird names that they always give to these things. And I'm not very happy about it because like it's just coming. I was just practicing for, you know, going to Nice, France. I'm like, okay, cool. Like I'm like already looking at tickets, already looking at places to stay, and like, okay, now I need another thing to spend money on. Great. I wanted to buy a secondary controller just to take it with me in case the first one died. Well, I guess I'm just taking one now, and the PS4 controller, I guess. So great. That being said, like Amazon, so like I bought the Hot T16 via Amazon, Amazon Spain, and it's like September last year, so around 6 months ago, something. No, not more 8 months ago, I think, or 9 at this point. And yeah, it's the same as Amazon Portugal. I guess it's Amazon Iberia, technically speaking. But I bought it through Amazon. But because, you know, like the Hot thing or the Hot 42 brand, it's not exactly like you know, a big brand. It's more like I guess we can call it you know, kind of like a brick and mortar in some fashion. Like it's just like it's a small business thing that gets replicated by a lot of other smaller companies. I try to get Amazon to like, hey, I need you know, to contact customer support for this specific product, and I can't find the page. So Hot does not have a page. It's a brand called Suahe. Sure, it's something. And the website just does not exist. The website does not exist at all. And when I try to activate the warranty on Amazon, the Amazon tells me, hey, you need to speak with, you know, the actual brand. I'm like, I can't speak with the fucking brand, man. I like, the brand just does not exist unless it's like your own store inside Amazon. So cool. I can't contact anyone, and Amazon is telling me to contact the brand back, and I'm like, I can't talk to the brand because the brand just doesn't have any way of contacting them. And I try to like send it to repairs or something, and they're like, yeah, we are not accepting this product to return or to repair. So I guess I'm stuck with a fucked up leverless. I got scammed. I mean, I scammed is maybe not the word, because it did last for 9 months of heavy and intense use. If not every day, because, you know, like some days I was just not playing Tekken, but at least twice a week I was having Tekken sessions, long Tekken sessions with that controller. So 9 months was not, you know, that bad, I guess. But now I'm debating myself, like, okay, do I go for the 250 leverless and like actually getting customer support from Turtle Beach? Do I get another Hot 32 and get, you know, a Wingman Brook converter if I want to play on PS5? I don't know if I can do this actually, because it's the USB port that's fucked. And if it's the USB port, I can actually take it to my dad, and like my dad will fix it. My dad's electrician and like electronics expert. He will probably find a way to fix it. That being said, the actual connector, is kind of loose right now, so I would need to order a new USB port in some sort. And I saw some cool. So I like most tournament grade sticks and leverless sticks have kind of a lock-in mechanism. Like you plug in the USB, and it's like a dented piece of plastic that just sticks to your like connector and doesn't let it move. And obviously, like with something as cheap as a Hot 32, like you would not get that. But I saw some really crazy USB ports that have not like the most recent HDMI cables, but like the old VGA connectors where you had like 2 screws on the side that you could just screw that thing on when you connect it. Like absolutely crazy, but they're just like super small. And I think like I'm gonna order a new one anyway. Okay, so I'll order a new, if it's another Hot or if it's the actually Victrix, or maybe the new 8-bit Duo as well, like the new 8-bit Duo leverless, which is kind of cheap. It's actually not that bad, but oh yeah, it's definitely solder on the board. But I can, you know, I have soldering irons. I can make that happen, right? But I might order one of those crazy USB things with the cable and the actual connector, just to fuck around with that board and be like, okay, maybe I can do this and make it swap the connector and like just use it as a backup plan. I don't know. We'll see. I was not willing. I'm not like keen on spending, you know, $200 or 200 euros on a fucking leverless right now. But I guess I'll have to. But it's definitely soldered. It's definitely soldered. I unassemble. If it was tournament legal, you mean the USB thing? I mean, it's a USB port, right? How illegal can it be in the tournament session? Like, yeah, I found a way to secure this that does not involve, you know, Gorilla Glue or duct tape. Like the cable will just be there, and actually I can actually get it with with the safety pull. I don't know if you know how those work. They have like a small connector that's not USB, just like a round connector. That if you pull the cord, that thing strips away, and the controller stays connected. Or the USB stays connected on the side, but it just unplugs in the middle. So I might just try that out. But anyway, I'll check. If that's something I'm willing to do, it will be like as a backup, because I'm not risking going to a tournament with a fucked up leverless from Hot 32. Kind of shame, honestly. Like I really like that controller, because it's like it's small. It just fits in my lap. It's very weightless. You barely feel it. And the key presses, like the switches, are kind of cool. They feel like responsive, but they're not the clicky thing that you have on like the normal keyboards. Like you don't press it and like half of your apartment building is listening to you playing that shit. They're actually pretty silent overall. And I do like that leverless controller. Shame, you know, like I'm honestly kind of sad that thing went away, and now I have the option of like, okay, I can wait for a new leverless and not play Tekken, or I can go into stick mode again and be an absolute piece of shit playing. Because my god, I cannot play stick anymore, especially with like the advanced combos that I was pulling. That I am pulling with a leverless. I cannot do that shit on stick. Not at all. Like that will not happen. But you know, the thing about, you know, playing Tekken and like just being alone at home at night, like maybe I'll try stick again. Why not? That being said, I am playing other stuff. Saturday morning, for those that were not around, I played a thing called Arctic Eggs. This was a game I was like kind of eager to play for quite a while, but I was trying to get it on sale because I was not sure if I was gonna stick with it until the end. You know, it's one of those weird indie games that like present you with a weird premise for you to play, and sometimes like I'm really attracted to those in some fashion, because like I like the weird things, but at the same time, like sometimes things are just weird but not weird enough in terms of gameplay, or when it comes to gameplay mechanics that are, you know, it just becomes like, okay, this is weird, but turns out the game is just kind of all right. So I got Arctic Eggs, and it's a game about you, like it's a cooking game basically. You put stuff in a pan, or in a frying pan, and the way the game works is that you walk around like asking people if they're hungry or if they want to eat something, and they give you ingredients for you to cook on that pan. Usually it's eggs, but sometimes like you get stuff like, hey, I want you to cook cigarettes with my eggs. And you're just like, okay, cool. But it's not just the fact that they're giving you cigarettes with your eggs. The cigarettes introduce a mechanic where you have time to cook your egg. And the way the game works is that you press the left trigger on your controller and you rotate the right analog stick to produce heat. And then if you let go of the trigger and you flick the analog switch, you can kind of flick the pan to, you know, to fry things on the other side. And you go around just like asking people to do that. So the different ingredients introduce different types of mechanics. The eggs, which is the most basic thing, you need to put the egg in the pan, and as the whites begin to turn white and not like transparent, you kind of need to let go the heat, flick it, and then fry the egg on the other side, which honestly just like absolutely disgusting. Like I don't understand how people prefer that to sunny side eggs, but you know, as a gameplay mechanic, I get it. It just makes it difficult, and not fry the egg on one side. On But if you do this in real life, like, you're a psycho, okay? Like, if you don't like a runny yolk on your fried egg, just, please don't. And I'll defend this to death. Like, this is the hill I die on. And then you get like stuff like the cigarettes. Cigarettes are already lit when they go into the pan, so you need to cook the egg before the cigarette runs out. And they'll drop like a bunch of cigarettes on top of your egg, just to like, so you can see the cigarette just burning away slowly as you flick, and you can't let anything fall. That's the only request like that you cannot do in that game. Like, you cannot let things fall out of the pan, or you need to restart the whole process again. Hey Nono, what's up? That's the eggs. You cook cigarettes. You cook ice. There's a guy. There's a guy somewhere in that game that wants room temperature ice, and you're like, that's just water, I guess. But it's like, no. I want room temperature ice. I guess, like, I don't like when the ice is too cold, and I want it to be like a little bit warmer. And I'm like, okay, sure. So it gives you like this glass, and like put some ice cubes inside the glass, and you need to fry an egg while the ice is inside the glass, so it doesn't melt away for some reason. And then you need to flick the egg, but do not flick the cup. So if you flick the cup and the ice falls, you need to restart the process again. Arctic eggs is like, it's a really weird experience. The world is kind of like this oppressive European dystopia. Nope, it's a thing called Arctic eggs. No. And it's a game about cooking in the Arctic. That's it. That's the only thing. So yeah, you go and like, it introduces you several other ingredients as you put things in the pan. Like, you go into a prison and they ask you to cook eggs with bugs, and the bugs are kind of alive, and they start like trying to flee from the frying pan as you cook them. It's very cool because like, it has a very PS1 aesthetic. So if you're not into insect-like things, if you get like disgusted, the PS1 graphics kind of throw that thing off, and it's fine. Like, I usually don't like watching insects. They kind of gross me out. I don't know, like, so you can see the world is full of, it's a nonsense game, okay, but you can see hints of world building, and it's you realize that you're living in like a dystopia, and it's like oppressive, military oppressed people, and for some reason they banned the chicken meat, poultry, right? And you get loads of questions. It's the game is full of like really interesting sentences and memeable phrases. Like, as soon as you walk out from your initial area, you get a guy saying, "Hey, you fucked up your last job, and now the Sage of Six Stomachs, or the Saint of Six Stomachs, stripped you from your abilities, and your only ability is to walk and to cook." And I'm like, okay, that's an interesting. And then he poses you the question of, can you fry eggs on top of the Everest? And then like a whole conversation starts about like, maybe you couldn't because it's so cold, and like as you were frying one side, the other side would get cooked. And you're like, okay, I guess I'm stuck in this conversation and having this really dumb, metaphorical question that I cannot have the answer for. But the game gives you a lot of that, or sometimes like it throws you references to other games. There's a chick in no, the only thing you can do is like walk and cook. That's the thing. Oh, actually no, there's a third mechanic in that game. So your objective is to visit the Saint of Six Stomachs, which is like the leader of the thing where you are. I do not know how to explain this. Like the city that you live in, and for that you need to cook for 27 people. Okay, and you don't have a counter on screen. You don't have nothing that indicates how many people you fed, unless you press triangle and your character pulls up a cigarette. This is all first person, by the way, so you see the cigarette in first person and the cigarette has a counter. And I'm like, okay. So it's so out of the left field that I like, it's absolutely hilarious. Okay, and yeah, like the game is basically just that you feed. There's more than 27 people to feed, so like if you find someone that like poses you quite of a hard challenge before you visit the final boss. I'm gonna say boss as like the Saint of Six Stomachs. Like so like you have plenty of to choose from, and you don't need to feed everyone. I'll eventually go for everyone, but I did feed 28 people and then went to the final boss, beat it on the second try, I think. It's quite an experience. You have people like another memeable phrase that I can think of, like you go into this nightclub where everyone is kind of Fortnite emoting. I'm not gonna call it dancing. It's just like they do Fortnite emotes sometimes when you talk to them, which is so funny. But there's like a soldier and a girl having a drink in that bar, and if you talk to them, the girl goes, I don't need. First they do the emote, obviously, because they need to emote before talking to you. But the girl goes, I don't need sex, and I'm like, okay, you don't need sex, sure. Fine. And if you go to the next sentence, he will say, because the government fucks me every day. And I'm like, okay, this went absolutely crazy right now. And the guy, like the soldier, which, you know, obviously it's part of the oppressive regime that you're living in, he goes, I'm a bit uncomfortable now. Which is absolutely hilarious. Like it's so out of left field, out of pocket, that like it's just freaking amazing. I've made the whole playthrough Saturday morning in this same channel. So if you're watching on Twitch, it's that was Saturday morning. If you missed it, the whole thing will be uploaded to my YouTube channel, where you can find this podcast as well. Hey KO man, welcome to the stream. So yeah, that was Arctic Eggs. Arctic Eggs was it was a cool experience. It was a cool thing. Like I said I needed a game after Blueprints and before Clair Obscura to, you know, kind of like a palate cleanser, just to ease things into a more longer game. And I found Arctic Eggs. But unfortunately, I also bought Blasphemous 2, and instead of playing Clair Obscura, I'm playing Blasphemous 2, because I freaking love the first one, and I think I might have beaten 3 bosses now. I guess 1 major boss and two smaller bosses. Not a lot of progress since last week, but I played 0 Clair Obscura since last week. Like I started playing last week, but at the same time I started Blasphemous, and every time I have some free time and I sit down, I'm like, hi, I think I'm gonna continue Clair Obscura, and then I saw the or Expedition 33 if you call it that. I look at the icon from Blasphemous, I'm like, I think I'm gonna go into this one instead, you know, because it's I guess Clair Obscura, like or Expedition 33, it's complicated in a way that I need to be absolutely focused on that game, and like on the right mood to play it. And while Blasphemous is like, it's a Metroidvania, despite like being hard as shit and have a lot of bosses, like kind of Dark Souls bosses. It's way more of my jam, for sure. What's Blueprint about? Blueprints actually, not Blueprints. Sorry if if the captions did not capture that wrong. Right. Blueprints is a roguelike game where you enter a mansion and you need to place tiles to reach a certain room. We've talked about it, like we had a whole podcast with a guest 2 weeks ago. Prince, yeah, sorry. Captions sometimes do not work. It's either my accent or it's the captions that are not working as intended. Sometimes they just do not understand what I'm saying. And blueprints is also a pun with blueprints, which does not help at all. Prince, yeah. So it's a game about, like, the story of the game is your uncle died and left you a mansion that resets every end of day. So it's a roguelike, and the way you progress through the game is like by going into the house and placing different tiles. And every tile is like a room, but the rooms interact with each other with puzzles, with like you have some resources that you can use to place certain types of tiles. So, like, sometimes they cost a thing called gems, and you need to get gems on your way. Sometimes they interact by having different types of puzzles, by having keys or something. It's a pretty neat game. So far, I think it's my game of the year. Like, I know everyone's talking about Expedition 33. A lot of good games are coming out, to be honest. Like, you had Split Fiction, you had Blueprints, you had Expedition 33, and those are the top 3 rated games of this year right now. And I know everyone is in love with Expedition 33. Like, don't get me wrong, I think that game is beautiful. But Blueprints stuck to me in a way, and apparently with Rene, because Rene was here on 2 weeks ago, that it just makes you like stick to the subject and think about it constantly because of the whole puzzles that you encounter and cannot solve on the first run, because of the whole interaction between some rooms. Pretty special. Like, the game came out of nowhere, and I think it's gonna be my indie of the year. You know, like, it's still kind of early. We're still in May, but it was a pretty cool game. It's yeah. I cannot stop thinking. Like, I uninstalled the game because I more often than not, I was turning on my Steam Deck and thinking, okay, I'm going to bed. I'm just gonna do a small Blasphemous run, and suddenly, like, I kind of want to play Blueprints now. And I'm like, I can't. I want to play. I also want to finish other things, and it's pretty good. It's a pretty good game. 10 out of 10 Blueprints. Despite all the shortcomings, that, like, all the complaints that I had about that game with the RNG fucking you over, because it's a roguelike. It's a roguelike, so sometimes RNG is not on your side, and that one is definitely a big problem. RNG sometimes stops you dead on your tracks. It's a pretty fucking good game. You want the number of a good detox clinic? No. Not really. But yeah, Blasphemous. Man, Blasphemous has, like, I'm having a blast with that game. Like, the way they introduced you new weapons and like, Metroidvanias work pretty much similar overall, and it works pretty similar to the first game as well. But the new weapons and the new puzzle mechanics that they introduce you in that in the new Blasphemous, like, I'm mostly I started with the most balanced weapon, because now they have 3 types of weapons, like I told you last week. But the game gives you the rest of the weapons as you progress, and I currently have the heavy weapon, which is like a, you know what a flail is? You know, like the big ball, the chain ball on top, or at the end of a chain, and a big stick. It's kind of like that, but it's, instead of being like a small spiked ball, it's a gigantic bell that you swing around and hit the enemies from afar, which is something that I was not expecting. Usually when you have the strongest weapon, it's not like, doesn't reach that far away. A flail, yeah. Although it's not a spiked flail, so it's just, I guess it's just like a big flail, a heavy flail. Usually in games, like the heavy weapon has the shortest range. Or I guess like it's more like mid-range, short range. But here, like you just swing it away, and the reach is humongous. The only thing is like it takes away your ability to parry, because that game has a parry with the other weapons, with quite a good timing for you to use it. But instead of that, like the heavy weapon removes your ability to parry on that game, and gives you, like, if you press the parry button with a flail, the flail lights up on fire, and you deal extra damage for a short period of time. Like it consumes mana. But like the destructive power of that flail is so big that it's just absolutely crazy. You only have to be careful with like enemies that get close to you, or if it's like enemies that are very tanky, you do need to be careful. But to dispatch mobs, the fastest and shortest way, Blasphemous is like it's one of those. Do you have some games that are under 1 gigabyte? Yes, actually I do. I think Balatro is one of them, that's for sure. I think Balatro, I think, yeah. Let me just check it out. Yep, 63 megabytes. 64. And I don't know how much Blasphemous is, but I guess that's bigger. Yeah, that's 4 gigabytes. But Balatro is one of them, and if you want, is this over 1 gigabyte? It's not. UFO 50. UFO 50, my personal game of the year 2024. It's 50 games for 400 megabytes. It's $25 on Steam. But you can probably get it on sale for 20. But it's 50 games, like kind of NES inspired. Kind of NES inspired, like with tons of different kind of like games. You have racing games, you have platformers, you have RPGs. You have a full-fledged JRPG inside this game. So yeah, feel free to check out UFA. Hey, Darkness KP, welcome to the stream. How did you guys find this, by the way? How did you guys find this stream? Well, we're here, like, it's this Thursday. It's always a short stream. You scrolled, okay. I'm just kind of surprised that people are actually tuning in. So for those of you who don't know, like this Thursday, I'm always here like around this time talking about a little bit of the games that I've been playing. And I usually play a lot of indie games. Sometimes I do play AAA games, like if they interest me, but I'm usually more of an indie game player. But Thursday we have the show where we talk about the games that I've been playing, and also some of the video games news that are, making the round that week. I'm giving like a little bit of my opinion on stuff, and sometimes we just talk about random stuff. But it's usually like a two-hour segment where I, ramblings of a madman. That being said, can you tell me some good indie RPGs? Huh. I need to mute this email because emails are raining right now. Let's mute this for 1 hour. Indie RPGs. I think the last one that I played was Sea of Stars. Sea of Stars. Let me check if I'm not mispronouncing this. Sea of Stars. Yes, Sea of Stars. Sea of Stars was pretty good, and also let me check my own library with recent activity. What else? Not sure. I played a thing called Dredge, which is like a weird boat RPG. It was on sale on Humble Bundle a few weeks ago, and it's kind of cool. Like you explore the sea with the boat and you get upgrades. I'm not sure if I'm gonna count this as indie now, because the company did get bought, and it's a weird situation. But if you want a cool RPG that's actually indie, I mean, I guess you have Disco Elysium. Disco Elysium is always like one of my favorite games of all time, and Disco Elysium, like it's an indie RPG. You can get the final cut. It was indie. The company is kind of like weird now. It got bought. The original creators kind of got, I'm gonna say, expelled in a very weird turn of events that I'm not gonna go into, because I've talked about this and I don't want to go again because it brings me a lot of sadness. But how do you spell that last game? Disco Elysium? I can actually type in chat. Disco Elysium. It's a turn-based detective RPG. That being said, we're here to discuss some news that I've been pulling around all week. This was too loud. Jesus, why? I hate this software. I hate this software. So we are here to talk about our friend and beloved Gearbox CEO that we all know and love, you know. Randy Pitchford. Randy Pitchford, known magician and Gearbox CEO. Randy is known for, you know, being very vocal and upfront about their games. But we have two news regarding Randy this week. One of them was like a little bit early in the week, because Steam users were review bombing the Borderlands games following Take-Two's new user agreement. I don't feel comfortable with the terms of service. So first of all, Borderlands games alter their terms of service, as well as like most Take-Two interactive games, and now they have kind of kernel level access for the anti-cheat. Obviously, like, people always have concerns about the kernel level anti-cheat software, because it just looks into your whole system to see if you're cheating. Usually it's pretty innocuous, okay? Like it will not mess up your system. But still, it's pretty weird that people look into your whole system to see if it's, you know, if you're cheating in games. I get it for multiplayer games, like Vanguard is one of those examples. If you play Riot Games, if you play Valorant or League of Legends, you probably heard of the kernel level anti-cheat that they use. I get it, it's a competitive game. Like, no one likes cheaters in online games, especially like they ruin the fun for everyone. And probably they just ruin the game from themselves, unless their objective is just to, you know, be a troll. That being said, Borderlands 1, 2, and the pre-thing that they had, those are single-player games. Like, single-player games don't need anti-cheat overall, and like they have a co-op. They have a co-op experience if you want to. Like you can play these games with friends, but if you're using cheats with friends, and because like you don't have an open lobby, you know, like it's it's completely like ridiculous. And obviously people went on Steam and like review bombed the shit out of Borderlands. I get it. Like especially because it's like they're so old. Why change now? Why change now? Like Borderlands came out in 2019, I think. Borderlands 3 came out in 2019. Everyone who wanted to play that game, or most of the people that wanted to play that game, already bought it. And if they didn't bought it by now, like, even why are we worrying that they're gonna cheat? So yeah, this was the first one that, like, Borderlands was in the news. I'm like, okay, cool, like Borderlands in the news again. Always not a good thing most of the times, because you look at them when Borderlands, it's either in the news, it's either because they announced new things or something happened. Wait, new headphones? Yes, old ones broke. These ones are not new. They're the old headphones, actually. They're actually the old headphones, which, you know, I'm not happy about it. But my left earphone basically went into Ripperino mode. You know, it is what it is. So I went back into my old Logitech ones. Let me see if I find the other article. There you go. In the meantime, a little more closer to today, and not early in the week. Ready, Pitchford. Why are you switching me to IGN Portugal? I don't know. Just no. Cool, and it just deleted me the story. I love IGN. I love IGN. Okay, we'll go into VGC, and we'll find the piece of news that I want. I like reading my news in English, okay? I like reading my news in English because usually, there you go. Randy Pitchford moves to justify comments that real fans would find a way to buy Borderlands 4 at 80. So this was regarding a fan on Twitter basically went like spoke directly to Randy Pitchford and say, hey, please don't make this game 80. You know, as the games are getting more and more expensive, games are. Someone took it to Twitter and tagged Randy saying, "Hey, I hope this game is not 80. Like, don't take that risk, because, you know, a lot of people are not being able to buy $80 games or 90 euros if you're in Europe." Randy, being known for their being a person that has a lot of sense. I'm being ironic, obviously. He said, "It's not my call to price the game," which fair. It's from the publisher. They are the developer, and the publisher is Take-Two. So it's not their call to actually price the game. But then he added, and that's the part where obviously everything crumbled. If you're a real fan, we'll find a way to make it happen. My local game store had Starflight for Sega Genesis for 80 in 1991, when I was just out of school working minimum wage at an ice cream parlor in Pismo Beach, and I found a way to make it happen. And look, being a little bit of devil's advocate, I get what he's trying to say. Okay, like, people that are fans, that are real fans of Borderlands, which it's not me, definitely not me, are probably like they're already like set on buying the game like day one, or like in the first weeks for the price that they're going to release, regardless of being 80 or 50 or 90. Okay, kind of like a GTA situation. I'm not comparing Borderlands to GTA. You know, I think those are quite different, you know, monoliths in the industry, and GTA will be sold for whatever price they want. But Randy, you did not need to say this. Okay? Like, we know like that if you want to buy the game, you'll buy the game. Okay? Like, if you have the money, you'll make it happen. But it just comes out as, you know, poor taste, I guess. Commenting on people saying, yeah, like, of course, like, if you want to know the truth, like, if you are already setting buying the game, you'll buy it anyway, like, it doesn't matter. So Pitchford's comments went relatively unnoticed at the time, but have become more widespread this week, with some players criticizing the suggestion that players who can't afford the game aren't true fans. And that's it's true. Like, the way he posted, and obviously it's Twitter, reading comprehension, it's below sea level there. It comes out as like, hey, if you're not a true fan if you don't buy this game on release, and like, that's disregarding a lot of precarious situations that people are currently living in with the current economy everywhere, a little bit everywhere in Europe, in the US, and most of the world. I guess, like, obviously Randy, like, probably didn't think this through, I guess, but the problem is that it's not the first time that Randy does shit like this, which makes me question, like, this brings me, like, to two situations where, like, first, I don't think sales are getting affected by this, okay? I don't think Borderlands will be affected by whatever Randy's saying, because for you to be engaged with this type of attitude from Randy, you need to be terminally online, and most people, like, just don't care. That's the truth. People will go out, see new Borderlands as launch, and like, cool, I'll get a new Borderlands. Like, I like this game, I'm gonna buy Borderlands 4. But second, like, with the repeated offenses that Randy has committed to the PR of Gearbox, don't you think, like, at this point, someone from Take-Two Interactive would, like, pick someone to be on Randy's side? And Randy coming out of, like, I think I'm gonna say this on Twitter, and the guy on next to him will be like, Randy, come on, just don't do that, man. Like, just have a little bit of sense. Like, at this point, after so many years, you'd think that someone would be like the right hand of Randy Pitchford, just to put his hand on the shoulders and, like, come on, Randy, just don't tweet that. That's gonna be kind of shitty. Which, at the same point, at the same time, devs that are working with Randy, like, they must fear for their jobs every fucking day, because every time Randy picks up the phone, they're like, oh my god, he's gonna post shit on Twitter again, isn't he? Like, oh no, there goes our sales. Like, again, I don't think sales are gonna be affected by Randy saying stupid shit like this. And honestly, like, obviously, like, you have you had some really weird incidents with Randy, but Randy, Randy is pretty much like a businessman overall, and he likes to do a little bit of show to promote their game. It's kind of tacky nowadays. Randy is the guy that's like, he presents to you a game, and instead of, like, marketing the game in the traditional sense, he will turn to you and be like, look at this badass shit that we just did, like, you're gonna buy this game because it's fucking badass. And you're like, okay, but this is just like, it's the same game that you've been doing, since Borderlands 1. Yeah, it's fucking rad. And like, okay, cool, Randy, good for you, I guess. And at the same time, Randy, he had that USB incident where people found out a USB thumb drive that apparently contained porn, from and people were questioning if it was, underage porn. That thing, as weird as it sounds, the porn insensitive business talks, which, it's the most sensible thing to mix up on a USB thumb drive. It's sensible business documents and court porn. And look, I'm not condoning you know, I'm not condoning watching porn, but I'm also like, you know, everyone has seen porn. It's normal. Fine, I don't care. But at the same time, you know, there's places for everything, and that was not it. I did see the excuse. I was trying not to go there, but I guess like, so like apparently the USB was full of squirt porn, and Randy Pitchford, well-known magician, said it was for him to study the magic of squirt porn. I don't know how to say this in a more delicate manner. Okay, that was his excuse. He was studying the images because it was magic, according to him. Hey, like, Alex, I even fucking stutter just like thinking about it. God damn it! Hi, Alex. Welcome to the stream. You know, it's weird. Okay, like yeah, like he comes out as a little bit of a sleazeball, and like his actions have been proven once and once again that they kind of hurt the brand image of Gearbox. At least, you know, between in these, I guess, closed spaces that are, you know, gamers who look at gaming news. And I wonder, like, honestly, I wonder how if this did any damage at all to Gearbox brand and to 2K, actually, like, since they're under their brand. It's weird, like, and yeah, like moving back to the subject. Randy did not need to say it like that. Most of all, like, I think there's ways of saying things. And it's not like, if you can't afford the game on day one, or if you can't afford the game for $80, you're not a true fan, which is, you know, like, it's absolutely not true. But and that's like disregarding a lot of situations that people might live in. Like, just Randy, shut the fuck up. Come on. Don't be that guy. Like, I get where he's coming from, but there's ways of saying things that, like, you don't need to be as blunt as you came across on this specific interaction, I guess. In the meantime, like, some weird piece of news that Rene just like sent to Discord yesterday, and I had to look to that title and look to the images and look to the title again, and like, I guess we're doing this. So Roman Reigns and Jason Momoa taped for Street Fighter movie adaptation. The film will be co-produced by Capcom. They'll also feature Andrew Koji, Noah Centineo. I hope I'm pronouncing this correctly. And according to Deadline, those will be featured in the upcoming film. Co-production between Capcom and Legendary Pictures. Street Fighter has received several adaptations, both live action and animated. The most notable live action adaptation came from 1994 Street Fighter. The film starred Jean-Claude Van Damme, Raul Julia, and Kylie Minogue. Right, it featured Kylie Minogue. I absolutely forgot about that. And despite critical panic at the time, the film was a commercial success, earning a reported $100 million from a budget of $35 million. Capcom has adapted like some of his most popular gaming properties, the results have been mixed. Paul W.S. Anderson, has been involved with 7 Capcom adaptations, which have received mixed reviews from critics and fans. You might remember, obviously, the Resident Evil franchise with... oh, I forgot the name now. The actress from Fifth Element. That person, and also featuring the same actresses, the Monster Hunter movie, which If you're a fan of Monster Hunter, you probably did not like it. If you're not a fan of Monster Hunter, you probably not even heard of the movie. Thank God. Just don't. Like, if you ever thought about watching the Monster Hunter movie, do yourself a favor and don't. Okay. But obviously, this comes from a very, you know, like, video game adaptations have been on the high, like on the high C right now, and you know, you have Super Mario Brothers movie did very, very well. Minecraft movie, regardless of what you think of that movie, it's doing pretty well as well. There's probably some other movies that I'm forgetting right now, but obviously, like, as if you see Super Mario like doing super well and video game adaptations being super well done and actually performing well at the box office, you know everyone's gonna try to copy that now. So obviously, a Street Fighter movie makes perfect sense for Capcom, and I think like Street Fighter has really, really cool stories to tell. Not even like not like even the main story about Ryo and Ken and Akuma. You also have the Guile story and the Blanca story. You know, every character in that franchise has a little bit of lore that you can adapt into a live action movie in some sort of fashion. The problem is that, you know, like, we've been burned, like, especially older folks, we got pretty burned with some early movie adaptations of our favorite games. And every time we see a piece of news that is like, they're adapting your, you know, this one of your games that you like into a new movie, and they're like, oh god, this can go very well, but also can go so fucking wrong. This can go so sideways, my god. I don't know where I read. Apparently, like, Roman Reigns was gonna be Akuma for some reason, but I guess that's not official. I don't even know like what to think about that. Roman Reigns as Akuma, it's one thing. It's definitely a choice. One of the choices of all time. Not saying it's good or bad, but, you know, like, thanks really for sending this. I don't even know what to tell you. Street Fighter movie, apparently, like, coming somewhere in the future. And Videoland released a mod contest with for you to add DLSS and RTX to previous games, and they released a trailer featuring Sonic of all the things. I realize you don't have desktop audio, so there you go.
Great gameplay is timeless. From beloved characters to unforgettable boss fights. RTX Remix provides a powerful toolkit to reimagine the classics with path tracing and neural rendering. Rebuild every scene with up to 1,000 times more geometric detail. Upgrade materials with real-world properties. Simulate each ray of light.
I actually haven't looked at this trailer like
Accelerate
yet.
Performance up to 10 times with DLSS 4 and
But this is just
shaders.
like,
From the fantastical
I get it.
to the gritty.
I get it. Like, obviously the game looks
Hundreds of games remastered by the fans who
way
know them
more
best. Each
detailed
world is
with
yours to
a remix. But Sonic just looks so off. Sonic looks extremely off with this. Like, it looks like the. So I looked at some images from this. Like, obviously you have the blur around it, and I don't know how I feel about the blur. But if you zoom in, if you zoom in on like the ears are like a little bit too rounded now compared to the original Sonic. But the worst part of it is the texture on his shoe is misaligned. And I'm like, I can't. And they go, yeah, like, great gameplay is timeless. I would not use the sentence, great gameplay is timeless, regarding Sonic Adventure 1. Just saying. Personal opinion, okay? Like, I don't care if you disagree, it's fine. Game... Most of these games are, like, by now, are pretty old, and most of the gameplay, it's pretty jank by today's standards. So, like, I don't know if upgrading the graphics will make that that perception that the gameplay like did not age that well, because you look at the graphics and they look brand new, but then you pick up the controller and oh, turns out this still plays like the old game, because it is the old game, and ends up, you know, creating this bigger disconnect between what you're seeing and what you're playing. That being said, like, good luck to the modders, because this is a modding contest, and you know, defamating the greatest Sonic 3D game of all time. I'm so sorry. That's just not it. That's just not it. Like, I'm sorry. Like, Sonic Adventure is not the greatest 3D Sonic of all time. To be fair, I don't think Sonic ever made the jump to 3D very well. Mario 64 was kind of jank, but you can still kind of play it because, like, the game is not fast enough for it to be, you know, like Mario 64, like, you can kind of play it despite the jankiness of the camera, because, like, the camera is like fixed as a fixed angle of rotation. But the platforming is kind of good. Sonic, as soon as he went to 3D, they tried to make it like the gameplay segments kind of on rails. And I think that jump to 3D never favored Sonic in like very well. The last one was Frontiers. I still have to play Frontiers. I'm not gonna lie. I'm curious to play that game, but I'm not enough of a Sonic fan to pull the trigger on that game full price. I did enjoy Sonic Generations a lot, because, you know, like, the mix of 2D 3D were kind of cool. Sonic Mania, it's still, I guess, my favorite game. Like, I still think Sonic Mania is my favorite Sonic game right now. And before that, it was Sonic 2. The 3D Sonics, they were always kind of weird. I like the concept of Lost World. Sonic Lost World was kind of cool, like, in concept, but then the levels, as the game moved on, they became a little bit stale and not fun. And obviously, like, there's always some jankiness in those games that prevents you from enjoying the game 100%, because there's always glitches and errors because of the speed that the character moves. And it's like like, I get Sonic fans, like, and I think Sonic fans deserve a lot better than what they've been getting these last years, especially 3D Sonics. But, you know, Sega has never been able to bank on them very well. I think it's Flow or whatever the indie game that came out last moment did better. I don't know what you're talking about. Let me see if they have anything else here.
RTX Remix is the ultimate modding platform that allows modders to remaster classic games, and today, it's officially out of beta. Remix lets modders easily import game captures, enhance every asset, relight scenes with path tracing, and boost performance with DLSS4 and neural shaders. Since the beta launched last year, over 30,000 modders have used Remix across hundreds of games, with over 1 million gamers playing RTX Remix mods. That includes classics like Half-Life 2, Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines, Portal 2, Dark Messiah Might and Magic, and Doom 2.
Doom is one of those games that, like, when you put RTX on it, it just looks freaking cool. Okay, like I'm usually not a fan of like getting RTX everything, but something about the way the RTX works with the pixelated graphics, I think it makes the games look really interesting, and I think that's where you see the most power of like what RTX can actually do. You know, because developers have been making cool fake lighting in games since forever. Okay, like the baked-in reflections, the baked-in lighting, different textures for lit environments and poorly lit environments that change if you flip a switch or something. I think developers like learned how to make games look cool without the RTX technology. Okay, and I think like we're still not there. We're still not at the point where the trade-off of having RTX enabled and the performance drop that you get from having RTX. I don't think that the trade-off it's there yet overall. But in older games, or games like Minecraft, like games that are highly pixelated, I think that's where RTX really shines. So games like Doom 2 and Quake RTX, Minecraft's RTX, they look really cool.
Multiply frame rates and simulate lighting even more accurately. Remix also introduces performance improvements and a new texture streaming solution that optimizes VRAM usage.
Haste. Okay, I need to check that out.
Creating worlds and characters is now better than ever. Before, modders could use Remix to replace materials, assets, and lights. Now, modders can swap out entire game characters as well in titles that support GPU skinning.
This is kind of cool though. Like for modders, it makes the job so much easier overall.
Of the original model. Rig it, bring it into Remix, remap the bones and joints, and just like that, you now have a high fidelity character replacement in game. RTX Skin takes realism even further by enabling subsurface scattering with full ray tracing for characters and materials. We can now properly simulate how light moves through skin, making characters look way more lifelike. It's highly customizable.
Yeah, this is kind of cool. You know, like for modders, these will make their... If you're like a graphical modder, I think this will make your job a lot easier.
Sharper volumetrics with clearer, more pronounced light shafts, which can help create those epic moments we love to see in path trace games. We also have presets to change the volumetric atmosphere of mods. For example, you can see how a mod would look with heavy fog, or mist, or even smoke. Additionally, we've overhauled the RTX Remix app based on community feedback.
They kind of look, yeah.
User experience provided by our new stage manager makes it easier to sort and
I wonder, like, if you put a mod like this into a a game like this,
check out the description
how
for the links to
impactful on the
tutorials,
CPU that will be,
documentation,
you know.
and ModDB, which hosts great resources on how to hook compatible games up to RTX Remix.
Anyway,
And hop into the RTX Remix Discord,
$50,000
thousands of modders are ready to
in
help
cash
you
price
with
for the best mod,
RTX Remix Open Beta was
or
just
like
the beginning.
the whole pool is 50k. Overall, RTX, best use of RTX in the mod, most complete RTX mod, and community choice. That's a cool context. Good luck for everyone involved. That's not gonna be me though. Whoops. There you go. My whole thing. Lost in Cult. launched a new physical game label, and they're launching I think it's 3 games right now: Immortality, Excavation, and of Hobbs Barrow, which I don't know which game it is. And thank goodness you're here on a limited edition. Each game will cost £60 and will get full retail releases for those who miss out on the limited edition versions. Lost in Cult, if you don't know what Lost in Cult is, it's a gaming magazine that focuses more on essays and more on the art of things instead of like the usual traditional reviews. It's a pretty cool magazine. Some of my favorite video assets from YouTube have contributed. People like HeroThug 4000, for instance, have contributed to the magazine as a writer. And the fact that they're selling now they're moving into releasing physical games with the I guess the quality process that they have for the Lost in Cult. Let me see if I can find it here. Lost in Cult, because Lost in Cult have I almost like pulled the plug a few months ago. But yeah, they're releasing like the physical games. Like you have Immortality that comes like in a pretty box with posters and like photographs, you know, like cool editions if you're a collector. Like the Thank Goodness You're Here comes with a physical game, obviously, housing a custom collectible mailer box with seasonal rotated illustrations. You know, like a bunch of shit that you can look into it, and obviously like also the standard versions that you are able to buy if you're not buying the special versions. Also, they have cool design works. If you know Animal well, they also are selling. I think the coolest one that they had was the Outer Wilds, which I did not buy, but you know, this thing would look kind of cool on my desk. Not gonna lie. But yeah, Lost in Cult, like cool magazine. Now they're moving on to physical versions of games. If you're into collecting things like this, give it a check. And now for the last 2 pieces of news, something I was not counting on is Lies of P is getting more difficulty options for the Souls-like, from the Pinocchio Souls-like. So like you saw the Lies of P getting a DLC, and they announced an expansion a few weeks ago. I'm a material girl. I guess I am. Lies of P Overture was announced a few weeks ago, and the developers just dropped that they are adding difficulty options for the From Software inspired game. While much of the community celebrates this, and the difficulty of those games is part of why they enjoyed such popularity, some players have argued that they lack a difficult options prohibits potential players from enjoying the genre. Now, Lies of P Overture developer NeoWiz has announced that it will introduce difficulty options in its upcoming expansions. We wanted to make sure a wider audiences of players could play the game, said director Ji-Won Choi. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing this. When asked if this decision was made based on player feedback, he responded, "Absolutely, we have lots of feedback from customers and from our developers. So by making development adjustments and introducing these difficulty options, we can offer the experiences to different types of players. This broadens the base." I find it funny because I had a pretty big discussion with a friend of mine a few weeks ago about, you know, the whole difficulty thing from Dark Souls, and that people are like, some games journalists were like, oh no, the Dark Souls should have an easy mode, and that spawned a whole discussion on the internet. You know, if you are on the internet, you probably are aware of how that went. People defending that the game should not have an easy mode, and that should have an easy mode and accessibility options for the game to be easier to play. And I get it, like, if From Software doesn't want to add those difficulty options or the accessibility options to make the game more accessible to other players, it's their call. But I would argue that accessibility is never too much overall, and this will not make the game, you know, lose its players. Like the developer is saying, like it will only add, it'll only add to the player base, basically. Like if you are not, you know, if you're not good with parrying, or if you're not good at action games, but you still look at Lies of P and be like, I kind of want to play that, but I know I'm gonna have a hard time. At least now you know, like the game will feature this for you to get the game and play it. How about go play another game? I mean, you can go play another game. Like I guess that's like the From Software approach, right? If you're not good at Sekiro and you cannot do those parry timings, well, From Software doesn't care about it. Lies of P developer did though. Hey Mister, welcome to the stream. People complaining about this can access my balls. I guess. I mean, yeah, sure. It splits the focus of developers. They have to make game that suits all difficulties. So one of the things that I talked about to my friend there was that obviously not every developer has the chance of making that happen. You know, especially if you're an indie game, you probably don't have the resources to have multiple difficulty options to accommodate for to a bigger player base. At the same time, you're already an indie developer, so your player base is already small enough. So, like, I don't think that's the best of your priorities. In the case of Lies of P, I think they can probably have the bandwidth. They probably have the bandwidth to experiment with difficulty options, especially now that the game is out for quite a while, and they can do it like no problem. You know, they apparently the game did pretty well, and they probably have the resources to do it now, especially if they're doing a DLC. I'm doing good. Yeah. How about you, man? So yeah, like that's honestly pretty cool. Like in terms of accessibility options, in terms of difficulty options for Lies of P, I might honestly like look into that game now. Not that I have troubles with Souls like overall, because I did beat most of them, except Elden Ring, because I was bored of the open world. I might check that out when the DLC comes out. I think like the worst part that I can get, if it's just damage and HP sliders, sure, go ahead. But if you start getting into the movesets and enemy placement, it hurts the game, in my opinion. I think that's like, if we're talking about just like difficulty, I don't mind like they changing like enemy placement. Like if you have less enemies on a stage, and like this is all options, right? If you want a harder game, you can just put the game harder in hard mode. If you're into easy mode, just like sure, like you are not gonna get your experience spoiled by it. I think the worst that can happen honestly, like the worst that can happen is you playing the game on easy, and like the enemies are too easy to beat. Like the HP that they have now, it's so small that you have no friction at all. So you just breeze through the game, which is fine. Like if that doesn't bother you, cool. But I like to, like when you get the game on harder difficulties, I would love to have, instead of enemy placement, I would love to have more advanced AI. Instead of being just like, hey, now the enemies just have more health. So now instead of like 3 hits, you're gonna have to hit them 7 times or 8 times. But the moveset is still the same, right? So if the moveset is still the same, the thing that you're going to encounter is, okay, I just need to repeat the moves again, and just like being like repeating the same action all over again to get to the same result. I think that's where a lot of the games fail when they go for the different types of difficulty options. For instance, like a very good example of this is Witcher. Witcher 3 was one of the games that I could never get into because I hate the combat in that game. I hate Witcher 3 combat. It's so fucking boring, okay? Like, I get people love, like, if you love the game, cool. This is personal opinion, okay? I hate that combat. Like, Witcher 3 combat is absolutely boring for me. Because they kind of wanted to be like a Monster Hunter situation. But you need to prepare a lot for the thing, but then the feeling of the combat just I don't know. That game never felt very well to me. And then like the fact that the quests just keeps piling up on top of everything. It's a game where the more I play it, the more overwhelmed I was by the amount of stuff that I had to do. And then when I went to do it, it was just not fun to do it. But I had the two experiences of in Witcher 3. I set the game to easy because I was like, okay, if I don't want to deal with the combat, I'll just put it on easy and breeze through it. And turns out the game was just boring that way because I would kill everyone, do the quests, and would not care about what quest I was doing. And so I thought, okay, I'm gonna do this like in very difficult mode because maybe if I put the game on harder difficulty, the combat will be more enjoyable because now I have to actually prepare for a fight. And turns out the enemies are just as dumb as they were in easy or normal. They just were tankier. And like, I don't want to be fighting a guy for 10 minutes like after I figured the whole moveset. I just don't want to be dodging and weaving through his like whole moveset. That it's honestly kind of easy to understand, and then just be hitting them for 10 minutes straight until he dies. And I'm like, maybe Witcher is not for me. Okay, and this is coming from someone who actually read the books. Okay, I read the Witcher books, and I think they're honestly pretty cool. I was so hyped for playing Witcher, and all those games just left me, kind of sad overall. As a game, maybe not as a story. Like Witcher games are pretty known for having a pretty decent story and ramifications of your choices. But as gameplay goes, I did not like it as much. Which honestly, now that I think about it, it's kind of my problem with CD Projekt games. Cyberpunk was more of the same, actually. With the aggravation that Cyberpunk kinda put the rules of the tabletop on a little bit on the side, and I got kind of angry on the way they did some stuff. And I finished that game to see where the story was heading, and at the end of the game I was like, okay, it was kind of okay, I guess. Not a bad game. Okay, Cyberpunk was not a bad game at all, but it's also not amazing. That was Lords of the Fallen problem. Bosses had few moves and too much HP. I figured the boss move set halfway through their life bar and was just bored going through the motions. Yeah, that's it's one of my problems with when people go, look, oh yeah, this game is hard now, and it's like, turns out it's just they just have more numbers on their HP bar. You're just gonna be here hitting this guy for 2 weeks until he falls to the side. It's I think it's the problem that you might encounter when you get these changes on difficulty levels for Souls-likes or other games actually. The AI needs to be tweaked to actually offer you a bigger challenge. I think if you have the same moveset but the AI actually is able to give you a tougher situation for you to overcome, I think it's honestly way better than just tuning sliders. It is what it is. And I don't think I have much more to... Valkyries on God of War, yeah. It's literally quick time. I had friends that were like really pissed at Valkyries because they had to figure out the whole moveset. And I get it, like it's for casual gamers, or for people who are more into casual gaming and not like more hardcore gamings, you know. I get that it might be a harder task for them. When I got to the Valkyries in God of War 2016, I realized pretty quickly what I had to do as well, and I breezed through it. I don't think that game was that difficult as well. I might revisit actually and make it harder and see how the game holds up. And finally, speaking of accessibility and accessibility options, Nintendo confirms Switch 2 will include a much requested accessibility feature. The system will support live captioning for game chat, which is something I was not counting on the Switch to do. So, while currently unconfirmed, the original Nintendo Switch system supported USB keywords, of course, but the feature that is shown in the gameplay clip of the Nintendo Switch 2 game chat feature shows players typing messages into the system, which then are read by the system itself. So text to speech, basically. And the Nintendo Switch 2 will also support live captions, meaning that the chat box on the side on the screen during game chat sessions will transcribe what other players say into their Nintendo Switch systems, adding a further layer of accessibility. And you can check that out on this clip. So obviously I'm not understanding what they're gonna say, but and then you have subtitles, like if you talk like the game will transcribe what you said into this small chat box, kind of like a Twitch chat in some fashion. Game chat allows multiple players to chat and stream their gameplay to each other directly. Okay, cool. Players can also share their screen if they're playing a different game, meaning one player could be playing Mario Kart World while their friend is sharing their Donkey Kong Bonanza gameplay underneath. You know, like they have the same moveset, they change one moveset between them, and have a mechanic that I hate with passion with games. If you hit out of time, they have a guaranteed hit no matter what you do. I said Ninja, why am I banned from that game? Oh, no. No. It's, I wonder, like, okay. Real talk, I wonder how this will work with... I'm not even going that far as slurs, you know. But, you know, I say... First of all, like, they show these in Japanese. So, I'm gonna guess English is a given in terms of language support, but maybe French and German in Europe. But I'm gonna go ahead and say this will probably be very limited in terms of languages that they are able to speak or transcribe. Second, like you said, I do curse a lot when I'm talking like in game chats. You know, like I'm gonna say fuck. Okay. And my question to you, I'm gonna pin this question in chat. Okay. Will Nintendo allow me to say fuck in game chat? That's my question. Like, will this have like filters, you know? Like, I wonder, because Nintendo usually is so Nintendo is usually so uptight about this. You know, people were, subtitles will say fork, not fuck. You sure? Are you sure about that? You know, if I go, will this work? Will it censor me live on chat? I like, for me this is fascinating, like Nintendo allowing this to work, because obviously this is obviously pretty cool. Okay. This is honestly like a pretty neat feature that they are implementing on Nintendo Switch 2 on game chat. And if it works correctly, it's honestly pretty dope, because, you know, so, I grew up in a place where, you know, my parents would talk, my mother especially would talk pretty loud overall. Like if she picks up a phone, I could hear her. If she was in the kitchen and I was like in my bedroom with doors closed, I could hear my mom on the phone. Okay, and that was like on the other side of the house. So obviously, like I watch most of my stuff with subtitles, because that's how I basically learn how to watch movies and watch series, because at any point in like me watching something or a show or a series, at some point my mom would pick up a phone call and I would stop listening to whatever the thing was saying, right? Even with the headphones, okay? I could hear my mom through the headphones. And like something like this on the Xbox 360 era, this would be pretty cool to chat with friends, so I can see what they're actually saying. And you know, like I'm gonna be pretty happy to see this actually working when I'm in a party. Especially because now you can play different games, so I guess welcome back Xbox 360 live chat. It's back on Nintendo. But then again, like, yeah, I say a lot of fucks while I'm playing, and not even just fucks. Like I will throw, you know, shit. I will throw a fuck. I will throw, you know, a motherfucker while I'm playing. And I wonder like how this will work out on such a filtered experience, and kid-friendly experience as a Nintendo Switch. Japan has a weird thing for streaming in chat rooms. They have their own rules for that, different from Twitch and the like. I would have to check. I mean, I don't know. Still, like, this being said, I'm so happy that like they're actually thinking of accessibility features. I hope that the thing about, you know, swapping button on your controls is still a thing. Although I would love them to make a profile per game and not an overall change. And yeah, I like, cool on Nintendo, you know, like they are taking the Xbox 360 live chat and making it a better experience overall. Despite, you know, like you can stream your games at 10 FPS, and I know people have, you know, I know people complained about the game streaming being at 10-15 FPS, but we're still talking of what is technically an underpowered console compared to the last generation. And you are able to stream game and having a camera on and green screen onto the, like, just opposed onto the game on what is basically an overpowered tablet. I still think that's pretty dope. Okay, especially if you're using that on handheld mode, not connected to a power outlet. You know, those things take power and resources, and if you're doing this and not having your battery go fully drained in less than an hour, I think that is a pretty cool tech. But at the same time, you know, like, this brings other set of problems. Like, you know, like the ones that I encountered in Uno on the Xbox 360, where the first thing that I saw was a man's butthole, and I don't want to go through that again. And like, as time goes on, like the random experience is less and less, happens less and less, because people are just joining lobbies that with people that they know, and not with random people on their games. So I think this is a cool experience. I think it still sucks that it's paid for. I think, like, having game chat, I don't think you need game streaming if you're not paying for the service. But the least that Nintendo could do is letting you have game chat for free. So at least you can join up with friends overall. Because, you know, not every, obviously, like, it's a normal thing nowadays. People will pay for online services, but, you know, not every parent will want to pay for online for the kids. And at least, you know, kids can join up on their apps and talk to their friends online through a Nintendo, you know, like, or if not, they'll just use Discord. You know, kids today are still super smart, probably smarter than most people think, and they'll just find a way. It's fine. I think that's it. I don't have a lot to say about anything else. I was checking the news tab. Oh, I actually got one thing that I forgot to bring up. It does not have Discord. It's their own thing. It's a thing called Game Chat. I wish it was Discord, but I guess it's the filtered experience that they want to provide. And, you know, Discord, you can find everything on Discord. You can be on very cool servers, but also there's some pretty shitty servers out there, and that makes for an experience that Nintendo doesn't want you to have, especially if you're, like, underage. So instead of just inputting Discord, like, you know, like the rest of the competition, they just made their own Discord that works via the subscription that you have on Nintendo, the Nintendo Switch Online system. Let me see if I find this, because this was actually pretty cool. You guys remember the Space Cadet Pinball, the pinball game that came with Windows? You probably remember that. You know, a lot of people miss that game, and they really like the pinball game that came with Windows XP. I think it was Windows XP. So someone ported it to Android. Let me see if I find it, because I did install it. Someone ported the game to Android with leaderboards. I can actually go like this. Someone ported the fucking Space Cadet Pinball to Android, and it just works fine. No ads. You have leaderboards. You don't have cheats like you had on the Windows version. But you can just go on Google Play and download it. And I think it's pretty rad that they just ported 3D Space Pinball or Space Cadet Pinball into Android just out of nowhere. And I've been playing it like whenever I have some free time, just hacking away at some pinball action, which is something I you do have the kick the table thing. Yeah, you have the tilt. You have the tilt, and the rest of the game works perfectly fine. You just don't have the cheats that you had on the Windows XP. Who does having a game that it's free and you don't have ads annoying you all the way when you play a mobile game? It's I think it's goes for a very good experience in my book. So I recommend you guys try it out. It's a good bathroom game. Oh, I think that's gonna do it. I think I'm gonna go. I have stuff to take care of, work stuff, and see if I don't leave much to tomorrow, basically. Thanks for coming into the show. Thank you for being there. Just came to leave the lurk and the support. Well, you just came at the right time because we're leaving. Bathroom games need to be a category at this point. I did have Balatro, but I still appreciate you coming by. Don't. Let's not. Yeah, I mean we talk all we wanted. Oh no, not an encore, because then I need to go into the beginning of the stream and talk about how my leverless controller broke, and now I'm gonna be sad again. I'm already sad again, because I'm thinking of buying a $200 leverless controller to go to Evo, France, and whatever makes this last longer. That's what she said. Indeed. But yeah, thanks for hanging out, and thanks for coming to another edition of this weird podcast show thing that we do on Thursdays. I'll be streaming this Saturday, I think. There's a comic book convention happening in my town that I'll probably go there just to meet up with some friends as well. But I'll probably be streaming something on Saturday or Sunday. I'll let you know on Discord what that will be. Probably Blasphemous. Probably Blasphemous 2. That I the more I think about that game, the more I want to play that game, for sure. Or if I find some weird game to stream, I'll just fuck it. I'll just do it. Because I can't stream Tekken, like or I'll stream Tekken with an actual arcade stick, and you realize how bad I am at the game when playing on arcade stick. That being said, I'll send you to someone. I'll send you guys to someone that's streaming right now. Let me check. Let's say hi to Flamerk. He's a Portuguese streamer. Or actually, no, we're gonna go into Kat Ryusha. She was on Rooffox channel yesterday, because they were playing Dead by Daylight, and now she's playing Honkai Star Rail. Say hi to her for me, because I do need to go. And yeah, thanks for sticking there. This was another edition of the Fgeitas podcast show thing that we do on Thursdays, and I'll see you guys this weekend for games. We'll figure out what to do over there. So yeah, see you there.